I was actually working on this last night and I got, here, I'll scoot it down. I got kind of sick of working on the flowers, like, okay. So I started working a little bit in here, and then I came down here and kind of started to put the first base layers in these flowers. And then I decided to kind of come over here and start trying to figure out, um, trying to figure out this background right here. Whew, it's tough. It's tough. There's a lot. Okay, so I'll wait and talk a little bit more as I see people show up. But right now I'll just go ahead and start painting. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to these flowers I've been working on. And it's so big, I just have to kind of figure out, gotta figure out where I'm gonna put my plate. Let's see. First, let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to turn it. This is just too big. Okay, here we go. That's easier. Okay, now I can zoom in. So again, you're not going to really be seeing my palette, and this is a good example of why when I'm teaching, I keep everything small. It is just almost impossible to teach on a giant painting. Oh, come on, I'm trying to get my image to pop up and turn it around. I'm so excited. It's really, boy, it's really coming along. Honestly, I haven't had a whole lot of, uh-oh. I haven't had a whole lot of problems with this one. So I'm very glad. Okay, I think I'm gonna try to find the divide around this area. And then I'll check occasionally if there's any questions, anybody is interested in asking anything. I'll stop periodically and I'll answer some questions. But so I'm not good with words. I'm really not. I'm good with painting. You know, the funny thing is even though I try to be as open as I can when I'm painting, there's a certain part of you that you hold back a little bit. And so that's why I kind of wanted to just paint. And then I can talk to you about what I get scared of, my fears, not am I going to really mess an area up, is just going to totally ruin the whole painting. And I think that happens to a lot of us. And I think it's kind of important maybe for you to just hear everything, everything that I'm thinking as I'm feeling like I'm really screwing something up here. Whoops. Okay, so first of all, the grays I made were running into, so I have my piles of grays, I have my greens, and so I kept a red, or the quinacridone rose a little bit separate, and I put some more quin rose over here with my yellow so that, I could keep a nice rosy red yet have an oranger red over there. But honestly, look at how brilliant those colors are. You don't need an orange. In fact, it's very difficult. Most oranges, when you use them, you're going to find out that they're a mix of two or more pigments, and they're very opaque. It's very hard to find a really good translucent orange. Okay, so let me just double check and make sure that this is showing up and everybody can see this. And okay, here we go. So I'm going to start, where am I going to start? Again, okay. I think I'm going to start right over in this petal. And hopefully my head doesn't get in the way. I'm going to start with, I started with a little bit of water and some orange. So what's interesting about these petals is that there's like warm reds, warm colors, cool. You know, we've got warms over here and then cools, and then I have to drop in blue. Oops, too much water. And then I have to drop in blues here and there. Oh, I need to make my image a little bit bigger so I can see. There's so much detail in here that I have to take my glasses off to really be able to see what's going on. Okay, so right now I can't tell if anybody's watching yet, but if you are, I'm just gonna keep talking. See, like right there, that has some warm color there. So I'm adding in a little bit of yellow. Okay, I'm gonna turn my palette. Okay, so now's when I need to get out my ultramarine blue, and I'm not worried about it touching the yellow because since these colors are transparent, I don't have to worry about them getting muddy or ugly. And if you're asking, if you haven't watched any of my tutorials and you're new in the group and so you're just watching, yes, ultramarine blue can range from semi-transparent to transparent, and some brands it's almost even opaque, but those aren't good brands as far as I'm concerned. And the better the brand you use, the more transparent it's going to be. And that has to do with, and I'll just talk a little bit about color right now while I'm fixing the grays that are coming over into my nice clean blue. And you can look and find this up at the top of the group feed here. But how opaque a color is depends a lot on the chemical makeup of the color and how big the particle size is, the pigment particle. So if the particles are big, they're going to tend to sit on top of the paper and they're going to look really opaque. And then they're going to look horrible if you mix too many colors in. Then they just tend to start looking flat. I think I need some, let's get some blue right in there. So the other thing I wanted to talk about while you're watching me, if you if you want to sit here and watch me paint, is that I do a lot of detail, and that's why I struggled. I've been, well, not struggle, learning how to teach less detail in my tutorials. So my tutorials do tend to be long, but I really love that because I want, this is how I paint. I have to be who I am. If I try to conform to some idea about how tutorials should be taught, well, then I'm just following along with the other 3,000 artists out there teaching tutorials. This is how I paint. And you're either going to find it interesting or you're going to find it boring. So I'm going to really try to loosen up here, and I'm going to talk. And if I drive you crazy, you'll leave. But, you know, this is how I paint. This is my painting style. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit more. Oh, I'm liking how that little area is turning out. I'm going to grab, what am I going to pick up? I'm going to pick up some very dry. Here's the thing about my palette too. And this is hard when I'm teaching or it's live because I like to have little dry areas everywhere so that I can pick up and drop in very concentrated color on very watery areas. Like right now, I'm picking up some of my dark orangish color there. And right up at the top here, I'm going to drop some right there. And now I feel like the water has sunk in enough that, and I know exactly how that water is behaving, so I can add some thick color. And I'm going to just push that color back over. And actually I need some red. I think I can go ahead and put some red over this the blue. So now so I've got some cool areas there. And I've got my reddish areas, my warm areas. So I think I'm going to leave this alone, that area, and let it dry a little bit and just keep moving around. I think I wrote up in the post that I started working on the background a little bit because I was kind of sick of working on the flowers, but yeah, now this morning I'm kind of happy to be back to them. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow right here. Okay. Now I'm gonna move, let's see, let's go back over, let me figure out where is this area. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the oranges. And some more yellow. I don't want to go too dark just yet, because to me, it's going from, well, it's going from like a warm orangish yellow into a nice cool red violet. So that's kind of the challenge on these flowers, is that, I've got to turn this a little bit. And that gets warm. Or cool. It's so funny. That's where I really struggle, is talking about colors, because I have to name the colors as I'm talking about them so I can describe to you what I see. And that's the hard part, because as I'm thinking about color, I don't know. I just don't think about the name of the color. I just think about, what is the color doing? Does it lean cool? Does it lean warm? Okay, I'm going to stop for a second, make sure that this, I haven't quite figured out the filming thing yet, or the streaming thing. Sometimes I can't tell, like from the other day, what was that, Tuesday that I was streaming? Sometimes I can't tell if people are watching. It doesn't seem to be catching up, but I'm sure I'm going to get that figured out. Okay, so see, it's coming around here. Maybe I'm just gonna, maybe because there's so many changes between warm and cool colors, maybe I'm just gonna go ahead and put in the pink, that magenta. Yeah, that was kind of I think that's a better idea. I'm just going to stick with pink for a minute because I've already kind of got the blue in. I did that first. So as I put the pink over it, of course it's turning it kind of that red violet. And let's come back over here. Yep, so I can't tell you how nerve-wracking sometimes it can be. So this is a pretty complicated painting. So I have to stop and kind of think, what in the heck am I doing in this particular area? And I'm still not even quite sure how I'm going to work on the cloth down below. But I did try some baby steps on it last night. I was kind of tired, so I stopped. I want to smooth this out a little bit. And this whole area, boy, that's, whew, I think what am I gonna do there? So right in this area are a lot of those little stamens coming out, but this is such a looser painting, looser style than I'm used to because I, created my own image first in AI. So there's not a lot of definition in these stamens. So I think I'm just going to have to go layer by layer, layer of yellow. Then I'll keep building up and making these little stripy marks, kind of like I did up here. They're just going to be closer together there. Okay, so that's how I'm going to address that. Okay, so now back over here. Okay. And whew, this is a tough area because I don't have a lot of divisions, but the areas that I do, I've got to kind of create those first. Like right here. Okay. And then I'm going to pick up some more blue, come back down into this area. I don't want to overdo it though. Oh my gosh, blue is one of those colors you've got to be very careful of because you can add way too much, even with the ultramarine. They can just overpower everything quickly. Fix some of these, excuse me, I'm going to fix some of these edges. See, now I have some cooler, so it goes from this very warm, or it goes from this very cool red violet, and then it gets kind of warm and yellowish again. So if I was doing this, with opaque colors, this would be almost impossible. And then there's a little, I'm trying to focus on the value here too. So I need to take my scrubber brush and go right between these areas, and I just need to lighten it up a little bit. Plus get rid of those pencil marks. Okay, that's better. You know what I think I did? I think I made it too dark here. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Just going to lift a little bit of that color because this area is actually darker. So I want to put that little area in first. So before I do that, I'm coming over here. I need to grab some orange, some of that orange I made. And I'm going to go right down along the side of this and get that dark value in. And let's add a little bit of blue because the strength of my orange is not enough. It's not a dark enough value right under this area, which is a little bit more shady. Okay, so I think I can go ahead and finish this area. And I see I need more yellow. That's what I'm seeing. Of course, you can't see that. And I'm hoping, I can see there what I need to do, that as I figure out my streaming program that I use for live streams, figure out how I can stream through to the group, which they don't make it easy to figure out. But I can do it if I just use one camera. So go figure. If anybody knows, fill me in if you if you know how to do that, by the way. Whoop. Don't throw your brush. Okay. Let's go ahead and fix this area right here. And then I've got to get rid of that line and smooth it out. So I'll let this dry. Need some more blue right along the side here and through this little area. Okay, let's see. Now we're going back to a little bit more pink. Yeah, so if I figure out how to get so that I can use my streaming software, then you can see the image. All right, I need to get my scrubber brush. Okay, let's soften. Here's why shadows can be hard, because you don't want there to be too much of a line there. I want it to be softened so that it looks natural when all the colors are kind of coming down. That doesn't look natural right there. So I'm going to soften that. Okay, but I still, that needs to be much darker. Okay. And that needs to be softened. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. And then same thing here. It's just, this is way too dark. It just looks unnatural to me. Haha, and this is like, I don't know if you heard me say this earlier, and this is where it's really tough, and I think this is a good thing for me to do, to stream my own painting, is because I can start to get nervous with people thinking that I'm going overboard with my detail. But yeah, this is how I paint. Okay. Okay, I'm going to darken. All right, now let's see. Okay, I know how to start this. Okay, so there's that, and then right next to that is where it gets darker. Okay. We're all coming up here, and now I'm back into pink. It's a tough little area right here. And I'm probably overthinking it a little bit, but oh, good. Now I'm starting to build up value, and I'm going to add just a little bit. Just going to drop some blue in there, and then compensate with a little bit more red. I think I'll wait to put more blue on here. So I want to drop that value down just a bit, but I want the blue to kind of sit on top. So I think I'll wait a little bit. Okay. Better. Now that value looks nice and strong. I like that. Get a little bit more orange right there. Okay, whew, that was a tough little area. More blue, because this is not dark enough. Really need to get this value darker. Not only did the value need to be darker, but I think what's great is that I've got some of these blues and then some of these bright yellow oranges. That's some beautiful contrast. Nice, okay. Okay, I think I'm good there. I think maybe what this needs. Chew! Oh, excuse me. Okay, I think I just need a little bit more yellow right in this area. That's it. Okay, now a little bit more yellow. Okay, now I can get into this corner here. And then I love how that goes right into that reddish violet. And then, normally what I do, when I have blue areas, I like to take a little bit of yellow and go right around the edge, and then it gives this like little halo. In fact, let's see if I can zoom in even farther. I don't know how far I can zoom. Whoop! Let's back up a little bit here. There we go. So what I like to do is I like to take my yellow, because that purple color yellow is the complement of it. So I like to go right along the outside of things that are purple and put a little edge of yellow, and then it just really makes it show up. That's, oh, dang it, I keep going the wrong direction. Okay, there we go. So the yellow really makes a huge difference on any edges that are gray or blue. Right down here is a good example. I haven't done that yet. It has to do with how your eye sees. Okay, now I'm going to add some over here. So that's pretty dry. So now I can add a little bit more very light pink color. A little bit more right here. There. And now it makes that shadow looks much more believable. Okay, since I was messing around there, now I feel like I can come back over here, adding a little bit more red. And let's see, I need to do the same towards the top. Yet be gentle. Not have it come all the way through. Okay, so you can kind of see the process that I just went through of building up those values. But now that I'm looking at this, I can see that I want more red. So I'm going to put a layer, glaze, what have you, right over the top. Yeah, much better. Let's pull some of that color down. I am going to back this out so I can get a good look at it. Okay. Let's zoom in just a little bit. So I feel like I'm on the right track. Let me turn my image and look at it. I feel like I'm on the right track. Because these two flowers right here, as I'm looking at them, they're the darkest value. Whereas these flowers have most of the, it's not really the darkest values. What is it? It's that these are cool. So these flowers have more cool areas, whereas these flowers are a lot warmer. So that's basically what I'm doing now is I'm moving into a lot more cool and warm. So that's why that was getting a little bit tougher, because I'm having to adjust my values so much. So I think I'm going to, let's see, turn it back around again. I'm almost done with this area. Ooh, and now there's a lot. I'll zoom in just a little bit more. This kind of was a little free-form area. I mean, I'm really enjoying painting these flowers. I'm actually just having an amazing time just being able to paint my own thing, but I can't wait to really, ooh, that was way too dark. Can't wait to really move on to the glass. Okay, and then I think it needed a little tiny bit more. Needed a little bit more value there. But what's going to help is when I put in some of the orange there. Actually, I think I'm going to do that. I'm not ready to start that little area. And my orange, again, is just my my quinacridone rose and my Nicolazzo yellow. I knew that would help me see this value better. I knew that's what I needed. Let's give that a little bit more blue. Well, didn't need any there. And it's orange up in this area. Okay, now that that's sunk in a little bit, I can add some thicker orange there. And because I waited till I felt like the color had sunk in really well, look at how beautifully that blended out. It was just perfect. It was just at the perfect moment. Oh, too much there. I gotta wait till that sinks in. So I'm gonna smooth that out. That is such a huge part. I know I sound like a broken record sometimes when I say it's the water. It's waiting for that, just that perfect moment. But look at that blend. It's just perfect. It almost looks airbrushed. So now what I need to do up in here though, see, even though I'm using extremely thick, like my orange and yellow was really thick. That's where I was kind of drawing from. It's not the value of these colors right here isn't dark enough for underneath this fold. So what I have to do is I have to add blue to darken that value. But what I've got over here is like a little bit, I made my own burnt sienna. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of that. But even that's probably not thick enough. Or, I don't know, maybe it is. See how that darkened it just a little bit. But I'm going to pick up even more blue. So I'm going over to my ultramarine blue and hope I'm not dropping too much. But if I think I am, then I can just come back over and I'll just pick up a little bit more red and then I can drop it right on top of it. And look at that. So not only did I lower or did I deepen the value, but because I'm using those transparent colors and I was able to go right over with that red, it didn't make them look dull or flat. That's huge. That is so huge when you're using transparent colors, is when colors drop in value, they can tend to get dull, but that usually happens when they're opaque colors because they're sitting on top of the paper and the particle size is so big that it's really hard. It's really hard for that color, for all the colors kind of mix and mingle and for the light to bounce off those particles. See, so I'm adding a ton of yellow here because you can't see this because I still can't. I'll have to work on trying to figure out how to get that streaming software to work with this, work with Facebook. But if you were looking at my image, you would see that there's a lot, that this is a deep, deep orange, kind of like down in these areas and right up in here. Actually, the deepest value is right there. So that's what I've got to do in here, but I'm going to have a lot of little lines going through there. So I'm going to carefully just kind of sneak up on it gently. So, this is another division, and I think, so it starts right there, and where does it go? Okay, the petal divides. Okay, that's that. Can't see where that's going. I'll get it figured out. Right now, I need to up the saturation and keep adding color. More yellow in there and a lot more red right there. That I should have even carried that down farther. Aha. That's where that little edge comes out. I could have waited. But that worked. That just picked right up. Ooh, and C. I didn't see that earlier, but that little spot right there is actually part of that petal. It's just curved down. Ah, I just did it again. I gotta say though, the more you paint, and this goes for everything that you do during the day, it sure does make you more observant about things around you, what the shadows are doing. The way color changes when you look outside. I find it interesting that I'll talk about the golden hour in the evenings, and I mean, and this isn't a bad thing, it's not a good thing, but I'm always amazed at how many people don't really see what happens when the sun starts going down. Artists years and years ago, well, it's still called that. It was called the golden hour because everything, all the greens, if you take a look sometime for yourself, all the greens in the trees, they get unsaturated. So if they're bright green, then they start looking like an olive green because the oranges in the sun that are penetrating the atmosphere are making orange things brighter, so you're seeing red things redder, and you're seeing sunny thing, or you're seeing leafy things get duller, and it makes things look golden. It's just beautiful. You should really pay attention to that sometime when you're outside. And then in the morning, things have like violet. Things look violet and they look softer and cooler. Okay, so I just have to let that dry. So I feel like I'm done there. Not quite done there, but I think it's coming along. I think it's looking pretty good. I could back out just a little bit, and I really feel like I've definitely got it a little bit warmer or cooler here than I do, especially in those petals. Even though those petals do have a little bit of blue in it, they're mostly very, very warm because they're at the top. But this one, it's still, the values aren't dark enough. So this one is going to get much darker in there. But I want to let those petals dry a little bit. And I'm going to attempt to finish that one. Okay. There was just a lot going There's a lot going on in that petal. Okay. Okay, so while that's drying there, I'm going to go finish here. Let's see, I got to fix that little area right there. Smooth it out over here. Okay, So what I'm going to try to do is get the darker streaks in first. So that one was kind of reddish orange. Okay, and then they kind of turn. There we go. It's actually just a lot of streaky areas in here. Okay, wait, so that area, oh, okay, I see what I need to do here. Let me pick that up a little bit. I need more of an orange. There we go. Let's see. A little bit more red, I think. See, now that all this is dry, I can add that yellow in there. Much better. Okay, so, all right. That works. There's a lot of blue in this area. Ooh, I love the colors in this one. It's looking really good. I think I need... Yes. Value in here needed to be a little bit darker and right along here. So this goes up, and there's another, okay, I see it now. I have another little thing. Ooh, okay, that was a lot. Oh, I see what I need to do. A little bit more blue. A little bit more red. That's what it needed. It just needed to be filled in a little bit, and I'm probably going to have to come back, put those little marks in there. Little veins. But I at least feel like the value is where it should be. Let's darken the value here too. This needs to be darker. Okay, we've got some good value here, but I think this needed to be even darker. Yeah, it did. My yellow's creeping over into my red. Yep, that's what it needed. Because all the values right now are too even, but I don't want to overthink this part of it, because now I just need to jump in and darken these values. Plus it's going to help when I have those little stripes through there. I don't even think I'm going to, I'm not even going to attempt those. Right now, I'm just going to worry about everything else around it. So I'm going to build up some very dark oranges so I can get that little edge right there. Ooh, wait, I better dry this, otherwise I'm going to have an accident. This is what happens when your paper gets really big. It can get these little waves in it, so you have to make sure you dry everything very, very carefully. Okay. Grab that color now. Okay, it actually comes out right about there. So I'm going to start it over and swing up. There we go. Now some pink. I don't want to pull that. Okay, I think I'll stop. I don't want this orange coming down too far, so I'm going to push the other direction. Now I can get into that little edge right there. I love this part of painting. It's just magic to me. How looking at those colors next to each other is just so beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now here's where I got to be careful, is up in this area, because I have to have enough light value on the very bottom layer to make sure I can get in all my little lines for the stamens. Okay, where's my one thing I'm not liking? I'm gonna pull up just a tiny bit. Okay, now I feel like I got a better angle. There we go. Okay, now I can let that go for a minute, and take my red, and let's get this value dark. And that actually has a little bit of orange in it right on that side. Ooh, my colors mixed. Whoops. Okay. Clean my brush, start over. I had orange on my brush and I dropped it right into my blue. So I think I'll just stick to my red. You know, the other reason why I love working on a plate is because when you have wells, all kinds of colors start filtering into your wells and you can't see what's going on in there. And then your colors over time get dull and they get ugly. It's so much better to paint in a plate. And then you can even take, like, let's say your red gets way too contaminated. You just lean it at an angle and let the, sink water wash over it, and none of the other colors get dirty. And trust me, I have tried to clean out a palette before with the wells, and it's impossible. You can let the water run over it, but you still end up getting water in the other palettes, no matter how hard you try to clean that. To me, it's a disaster. And I have I think I have 3 or 4 of those very expensive, the John Pike palette, and there's a couple other, and they weren't cheap. And I still have those watercolors sitting in there, probably 10 years ago. Every once in a while I think about, cleaning them out and making use. Let's get more red. Nice, that's looking good. Here's something else that's funny about painting. Like when I first started this, I don't know how long I've been streaming. Let's see, an hour and 15 minutes. So it took probably a half hour before I got comfortable with getting back into the painting flow. Oh my gosh, I love that area. That's just so pretty. But I'm gonna grab some more yellow. I think when I stream again, and I'm probably gonna stream again tomorrow, I'll make sure up in the post, I will add the image up there. At least until I can find somebody that will help me figure out my settings. Facebook's back end is absolutely horrible. That's all I gotta say. I'm not the only one that thinks that. It's very hard. It's not very user-friendly. Let's just say that. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of blue. So anyhow, my point about it takes a little while to get into really starting to feel that painting. So don't stop after a few minutes. If you're feeling frustrated, just keep going. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting into that painting groove. Okay. I'm just needing to dive in because I'm not addressing these values. I need to be darker, and a little bit of blue right in here. Yeah, that's what it needed. It was just not dark enough. And then, of course, now that I dropped in water on top of it, that means I'm going to have to go back and add some of the detailed veins again, so that I've got lighter areas and darker areas. But so far, it looks pretty good, I think. Got something in there. I think that needs more yellow right there. Okay, now I can come back down. Let's go back down into this area. Whew, I didn't screw that one up this time. It seems like every single time I tried to make that edge, I just was making a mess. And I felt like I couldn't move past it until I got that part right, so I could start coming down. into these other areas. Okay, more blue. And this is why I put these petals off till last, because it was a challenge. So the challenge is getting two complementary colors, which is purples and yellows, because they're right across from each other on the color wheel. It's getting two complementary colors to blend without turning brown, keeping the vibrancy so that you could see both of those colors together. Oh, here's another area. Okay, so that's going to kind of right about there is one of the little stamens. Okay. Okay. Oh, I had a bunch of paint on my brush. Tiny bit of yellow orange. One thing I always struggle with, and I'm getting better and better at it, is getting those values down. But value to me is the hardest thing in the world to see. And I have a good eye, and sometimes I don't know if it's just, maybe being a painter for 30 or 40 years, or if it's the fact that how your eye sees color is it's just a science. And sometimes it's just going to always be that way because you just always need to compare. You just always need to compare. That's a good way to say it. So, and every time I critique somebody's work, that's what shows up to me is the value. And usually a painting can always be fixed with value. You can go wrong on your color choices, but what people are attracted to is value. See, I'm even coming back over here now. As I stopped looking at this area for a while, I was focusing on there, and then I went back over here. It's like, oh, yeah, that needs to be a little bit darker. That needs to be darker. Let's soften this. And now there's this little area right in here that's going to be kind of a pink. I'm going to soften all that. And then I know that right next to that I've got a little actually it starts right there and kind of works over. It's a stamen. So I'm still working my way in this area. Probably it's pretty saturated, but I think I can go ahead and come back over. That was a little too much red. That's why on our, so I'll be live streaming on the Dahlia and Bumblebee I'm working on, and even I have to tell myself every once in a while, it's a background. Let it go until you get the rest of the painting done, and then you can see where you're at. Okay, so I think I need to dry this a little bit. Now I can, am I going to start in there? Yeah, I'm going to come over. I might start some of the little areas. I don't know. I might go ahead and turn this. In fact, maybe that's what I'll do. I don't know if I want to work on that right now. That's pretty intense. I think the thing is, I usually have to get right down, like, about 2 inches with my eyes, because I'm nearsighted. Okay, let's zoom out. Okay, let's turn it around. Okay, I'm gonna back up since it's just the top, and let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit. Put my glasses back on, and yeah. So let's rotate this my image so I can see it. All right. So just like down in this area, this is definitely, I feel like it's darker. In fact, these ones are good, but obviously, believe it or not, that's got to be a little bit darker. And because when I get that center in, that's really going to darken it. So I feel like the colors are nice and cool. There's going to be the center there that's very warm. And like I can see that I'll need to even add, I'll need to add a little bit more red right in here. I need to tone that down a little bit. And then of course, some of these lines coming through. So what I may do is kind of leave that alone for a little bit because I've looked at it so much, and start working on that area. But let's see, I've been streaming for about an hour and a half. Okay, so I think that'll work. I'll start working on this a little bit more, and I'll show you what I've done down here. So I've got the stem that's coming down into a very, very light one. This one's almost, it's like such a light yellow. It's like almost like a golden color with a lot of whites. And then I come right back down into the darker gladiolas again. So that's going to look really pretty. And right here you can see where I've started on that background, and well, I'm kind of easing myself into it. I haven't quite figured out yet how I'm going to do it. And now that I've put in a couple of those darker areas, I think I might continue on with that, not worry about making them so dark. That way I can wash over the main color first, and then I can go back into some of those dark areas, because I'm afraid as I keep wanting to go over with layers, I'm going to cause those darkest colors to kind of wash out and wash into the other color. So anyhow, that's where I'm at with that. But yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it this way now. And I'm gonna do just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. This one's a little bit smaller, so I feel feel like this is a good one to kind of end with, especially since I haven't worked over in these little areas yet. Nope, let me get back to my number 2. Ooh, I almost went over those. I have some little highlights right there, and I almost went over them. Actually, I did with the blue. Yeah, at least this one's not as dark as the other areas, so I can take it a little bit easier. Okay, so let's see. Here it comes down. Right about there. And that little section is part of the top. And it gets warmer as it starts coming over to the sunlit area. Maybe a little bit more blue. This is why I like using small brushes too, because I feel like I have more control and not as much water drops down. Oh, I need to wait a little bit on that. I was trying to make an edge there, but it's just too wet. Okay, so I'll hop back over here. And then what I think I'll do tomorrow to stream is I will start on the glass and the stems inside of the glass. I'm dying to get started on that. I need a tiny bit of yellow. That was too much yellow. Let me lift that up and start over. Now what I need to do, okay, I think I see where it is. I needed to find the edge of the stamens because somehow I either didn't put the lines in there or I just flat out lost them on my wash. But this took me 4 hours minimum to draw out. So there had to have been areas that, yeah, I forgot. Oh, okay, I see what's going on here. I have a little tiny edge. No, that wasn't, okay, I'm just going to ignore that. That's not how that went. Just smoothed it out for now. Okay. So now I think I can see some of my line there. Okay, it came down. Whew, I have a stopping point. Oh, what a relief. I like it when I have like little areas that I can stop at. Otherwise, even I can get overwhelmed in an area, and it is water. Oop, I've got some yellow moving over. Yeah, even I'm sometimes not fast enough. To compensate for the colors drying. I'm getting better at it. But even so, there's only so much you can do before the water's absolutely dried up. It's hard to believe that artists used to use watercolor as practice. Practice? Oils are a cinch compared to watercolors. It's just always cracked me up. It's like, really? You use that for practice? My gosh. Poor watercolor. It just doesn't get the respect it deserves. I'm gonna have to stop in that area because it's getting awful wet. Okay, and I'm gonna leave that. In fact, I'm going to use my eraser. I'm going to kind of pull up some of these lines here, and I'm going to start and work my way that way. Okay, so I got to find a starting spot. Okay, there's a little white highlight right there, so I can go around that. I hope that was it. Okay, so comes down. Oh, before I do anything though, let me get in that little area right there. Okay. And let's erase. Let's erase those lines and I'll put those in myself. I'm just going to smooth this out. There's a lot going on down here, but okay, what in the heck is right there? Okay, I think that's like a little burnt sienna area. Let me grab some. Sometimes it's very, very easy to get lost. Okay, so I got there. Yep, that's what that is. Okay. And I'm going to drop some yellow right on top of that. And then I'll come back to that. Okay, I'm going to define another edge here. It's hilarious to me when I can't even find my own my own areas that I've drawn. It's like, what am I doing? This is so hilarious. Oh, that's so funny though, because that's what I always say, right? Don't use my drawings. I mean, I put them on there, but use your own. Because, man, you don't know what I was. You don't know what I was thinking when I was drawing something out, right? Okay, I can't see what in the world. And it doesn't, honestly, it doesn't matter, but it matters to me. I'll just say that. It matters to me where those little lines are. And so anyhow, what I was saying about the lines is, when you get tired, it may be that I wasn't paying as much attention to where a line should go. So, just one of those things. And it didn't help that, oh, okay, so I've got a little starting space right there. Yay, I found something. I found something I recognized. Yeah. So anyhow, you don't know what I'm thinking when I'm drawing something, but you know what you're thinking when you're drawing it, right? That's what's important. Aha. Okay. Now I know where I'm at. There's just some very cool highlights that are kind of going on in this area, and I didn't want to lose those. Okay. Oh, now I gotta quickly blend those in. I think I need more yellow. See, and here's going to be a giant bundle again of those stamens, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. And I wanted to define this little interesting petal right here. Let's add a lot of yellow in here. Now, if I had been smart, I would have really paid more attention to what was going on in this area when I was drawing, or when I was drawing it out, and I didn't. I always think I'm going to say lesson learned, and no. I should know better. Okay, let's see, and then it comes down. So I can at least do this for right now, since I've basically lost some of the lines here. But I can see where the value is going. So I'll meet it all up. It'll get there. Oh, that was too much water just dropped off my ferrule. Okay, now even though that's a division, I can add in these darker colors, and then there's no light right there, there's no highlight there. So I can just go ahead, keep filling this in. With color. Okay, and then pull down some of those folds. And okay, now I kind of can see. Now I can see where I'm going. Okay. So let's see. Aha, here's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to grab some yellow, swing it around, and then blend these in. Ooh, that was a challenge. Okay. See, and then right here, there's a hard shadow, or a hard highlight right there. And it's lighter. It's a warmer color there, but then darker, cooler up towards the top here. Ooh-wee. Okay, now let's darken this just a little bit more. Smooth that out a bit. Okay, I think I basically got where all my lines are, and this is going to help me when I go to finish the center. So, okay, let's turn it around. I want to take a good look at it. Okay, other than my bottom, here's where I'm at. Oh my gosh, I am so happy. I mean, you can really see those flowers developing. This is just, I am so excited. So I may finish those. I'm probably, I think, going to finish those tonight, because then I can, be 2 inches from the surface of the paper, trying to see all the little details in the stamen. But then tomorrow I can come back and I can show you how I am going to work on the glass and all the stems coming through and the water line, and then the reflection onto this silver plate right here. So there is so much going on in this. I've got a silver platter, I've got glass, I have even though you can't see it, there's a little glass bauble right here, and of course the water, and then all of this area, this fabric that I have not quite figured out. But even though I still have to finish those stamens, right? And those upper petals, boy, that one's really dark, so I need to get those done. And then once I'm done with that, I want to stop working on flowers for a little bit, and again, we'll do the glass and the stems. And I, believe it or not, I actually think, and I'll zoom in, I think the glass and the stems are going to be easier because there's a lot of hard edges as I'm going to be pulling paint through the glass. So there's not a whole lot of blending like there is up in the flowers. And then I can continue working on what's going on there. So, oh yay, somebody commented. Okay, let's see. Jeannie is saying, I love the colors in this painting. I'm so glad you are painting something for yourself. Oh, thank you, Jeannie. Um, yeah, it's just, oh my gosh, it's just been so much fun. I really feel like everything in this has just flowed, and I'll zoom out again a little bit. It's just the vibrancy, and again, all with three colors. My ultramarine blue, my nickel azo yellow, and my quin rose. And even those colors built that dark background. Truly, you can do it. And I honestly wish I had have filmed this part. But I gotta be honest, that I didn't know how I was going to do that. But now that I've learned a new method for these really dark areas and how to get these nice blends, I want to do that for everybody. I want everybody to see how I managed to do that and get these dark, subtle colors in there. So, but I didn't think about it as I was painting. So, yeah, and that's it. Honestly, that's it. Those three colors, and you can build anything you want. You can create anything out of, and it doesn't just have to be those three colors. It can be any three colors, as long as you can make them transparent and staining, and then just keep building those layers. You can do a whole lot. You can do a lot. So I think I'm done for now, and I can wait for a few minutes. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and type them in and I'll answer them. But oh my gosh, I can't wait till I get to the little glass bauble there in that area. And whew, I'm really nervous about these folds. And again, when I stream tomorrow, I'm going to make sure that right in where the comments are, you can see what I'm painting from. So you can see what I'm talking about with all the folds and the lace and the shapes. And there's a lot of browns, yellows, and the blues are in here. And I want to make sure that I get all that, because everything so all these shadows that are going to be coming in, the warmth of the colors, that's what makes shadows. So there's the cool areas and the warm areas. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get to that point. So I don't know. Tomorrow's Friday. Yay! Yay, yay. It's Friday. So maybe I might do it a little bit later, so give other people, if you're interested in watching me, a chance to even just watch a few minutes of it. So I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So I'm going to sign off. Yep, we're close to 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and